And considering how big the September 11th attacks could have been, it also could be that some of the actual succeeding hijackers did not know they were participating in a suicide mission, at least not until last minute. According to The Guardian, October 14, 2001, under the headline, "Attackers did not know they were to die." Unlike the 8 lead attackers, who were all trained pilots, they did not leave messages for friends and family indicating they knew their lives were over. None of them had copies of the instructions for prayer and contemplation on the eve of the attacks and for opening your chest to God at the moment of immolation, which FBI agents discovered in the luggage of Mohammed Atta, the man believed to be the hijackers' leader, who flew the first plane to destruction in New York. It is understood the FBI has found evidence suggesting the 11 men expected to take part in conventional hijackings, with the planes flown to distant airports and the passengers and crew taken hostage while the hijackers presented demands. Items found among the 11 men's possessions suggest they had been preparing themselves for incarceration. One source said, "It looks as they expected they might be going to prison, not paradise." But until then, we'll have to wait until more 9/11 documents are declassified. And there should be an equal amount of investment and focus just as there is with the World Trade Center and Ground Zero by the 9/11 Truth Movement, but regarding the hijacker cells and their associates who were eventually captured, then freed. And separate from the immediate Dragnet detainees, it's also important to pay attention or to seek transparency regarding the Guantanamo detainees, because even an official story is being preserved which needs to be publicly challenged about the official 9/11 conspirators' alleged associates overseas. A false narrative that is preserved willfully, as with some cases of Gitmo detainee testimonies are based off torture. And chronologically speaking, also, consider the timing of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed's first public interview, along with Ramzi bin al-Shibh for Yossi Fouda of Al Jazeera, being in April 2002. This is when KSM decided to take credit for the attacks, having already been filtered to an official scale of 4 hijacked planes and 19 hijackers. This KSM interview and confession was conducted 2 months after the investigation began, February 2002, by the Joint Inquiry into Intelligence Community Activities before and after the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001, otherwise known as the JIS, who released their final report later that year in December, when the initial resolutions in the Senate called for the establishment of an independent bipartisan committee the following December 2001, just 4 months after 9/11. This being a point in time when a growing suspicion between government and media officials and conscious citizens witnessing or experiencing the escalation of the cover-up with the FBI and law enforcement, with the amount of subsequent arrests of hundreds of Middle Easterners and Muslims suspected as terrorists in the immediate dragnet after September 11th, which besides for Zacarias Moussaoui already in custody weeks before September 11th, eventually all of the 9/11 dragnet detainees were suddenly downgraded to immigration and naturalization INS charges, eventually collected in what is now known as the OIG list of aliens held on immigration charges in connection with the investigation of September 11 attacks from the U.S. Department of Justice, Office of Inspector General. But going back to KSM, the alleged 9/11 mastermind, he never stated he was the head of the Al-Qaeda military committee, and yet with all the controversial circumstances to how many times he had been waterboarded and inconsistencies to crimes he's allegedly confessed to, along with what has been made public from it, KSM's initial capture, then transferred to Gitmo sequentially after the releases of the JIS and 9/11 Commission reports, and subsequent with his alleged confessions, whether real or fabricated, are basically there to reaffirm the official scale of the 9/11 Commission report, in that KSM, Osama bin Laden, and the Al-Qaeda network were only capable of managing 4 hijacked planes, and that there were no use of explosives, neither within the hijacking takeover of the 4 official flights, even though passenger calls made from 2 of the flights stated the contrary, that the hijackers did have bombs. And we already know that Bush administration officials were either lying or were completely misinformed in the notion of previous administration and government not aware that such an attack like 9/11, using multiple airliners to crash into building targets, was not thought of or known. Considering the discovery of the Bojinka plot by KSM's fugitive nephew, Ramzi Youssef, on his laptop before being captured as the alleged mastermind in the first attack on the Twin Towers, the 1993 World Trade Center bombing. KSM said that the 9/11 operation could only handle 4 planes, when that's clearly not the case on Boston Logan Airport alone. That's why the CCTV security cameras are not released from the airport, because the truth of the matter is, Boston Logan Airport on 9/11 was an inside job. Thank you for watching this film. independent storyteller, I need your support. Please consider donating through PayPal. Your help will help me in acquiring costly, unreleased archives from news networks to produce more films. YouTube has practically removed all monetizing features and incentives for most conspiracy theory historical skeptic content. And if you want to get early previews on my upcoming films as well as access to exclusive ones, then please become a Patreon as another means of support. Thank you, and please subscribe to my channels.